Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Civil Gore Podcast. I'm your host, Tim. So, Brian was a little under the weather this weekend, so we didn't get a chance to record our regular episode. But what we decided to do instead was bring you two interviews that we had an opportunity to take part in this past week. And they were really, really incredible. The first one is for the Amazon Prime series, Them. Season 1 of Them came out in 2021. It's a horror story set against the backdrop of 1950s racial injustice in America, and it was really well done. Superb cast, starred Deborah Ayurende as one of the leads. She actually returns for season 2, playing an all-new character because the seasons are not connected chronologically. But season 2 takes place in the 90s, and it's set against the backdrop of a different era of racial injustice with the Rodney King verdict in the LA riots. So it's a phenomenal series. I watched we were given the screeners for the first 5 episodes of season 2, and it's absolutely incredible. If you're a horror fan, you're going to absolutely love this. If you like stuff like Jordan Peele, horror set against social backdrops, social problem backdrops, you're going to absolutely love this series. So we were invited to this press junket to interview some of the stars. The one that we got a quick interview with was Joshua J. Williams. He plays the teenage son in the series. Fantastic young man. Really enjoyed talking to him. I think you're going to like the little interview we did with him. Obviously, these guys were doing interviews all day long, so we only got a little brief period of time to talk to him, but I was so happy to do it because I'm just in love with this series, and I give it my highest recommendation. So we're going to go with that interview with Joshua J. Williams, and then we're going to roll it right into another interview we did with the 3 creators of the new horror short Pit Stop. Friend of the show, David Flores, Mary Rose BRANICK, and Emily Sweet, who you guys all know, have created this excellent little horror short that Brian and I really, really enjoyed. It's making the festival rounds right now. So if you want to see it, you can either hit one of these film festivals or you can do a virtual film festival. There's some details that David gives later on in the interview about how you can catch this one. And that was a fantastic interview, kind of a little round table with all 3 of them talking about the process of creating a horror short film, which we don't always get to see, the behind the scenes of making horror shorts. We have a lot of indie directors for full feature films, but I thought it was really interesting to see the similarities and the differences between a horror feature and a horror short. So I hope you guys enjoy these 2 interviews. I'm just going to run them back to back. And we will be back with our dismemberment for the last 2 weeks of April that we have to catch up on. And then we're going to try to get back on track and get you some regular interviews, regular episodes, and our May dismemberment coming up. So take care. Talk to you then. This is Tim and Brian from the Civil Gore Podcast. Hey, how's it going, Joshua? Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet y'all too, man. Nice to meet y'all.
Yeah, we watched the screeners and absolutely loved it. Thought it was outstanding.
Okay, cool. Thanks. All right, good.
So I want to start just a little bit simply. What kind of drew you into the series? Are you a big horror fan to begin with?
I'm not a big horror fan, but I like horror. You know what I'm saying? I like horror I can resonate to for sure. But I was a fan of the first season actually, and with the first season, I was in awe for the first season. And so when I got the call for the second season, I was like, I gotta do this. When I read the description for Kel and what his role was, I was like, I gotta do it because I relate towards the character so much. And I really, really believe that it was time for me to take on something like this, something with a character that has so many things. So just that it being Them season 2, that's what drew me in because I seen season 1 and I was like, I gotta be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? And Little Marvin, our creator, he's such an amazing writer and a talented individual. And I'm so glad that I got to work with him throughout in my career. So,
yeah, we were both huge fans of season 1 too. So So now you're no stranger to episodic projects. So what was it like though to be in this one, which was your first real horror series?
hmm it was amazing, man. It was amazing, and I love television series. Like I love series. That's why I do it so much. I only did like one movie, I think, but like just with this one, especially it being horror, I had a new take on how I approach certain characters, and that's good. You know, like that's good. But with this being a horror, man, like I didn't really know what to expect, but you know, just me watching that first season, I knew that it was going to be something that I haven't experienced before in my career. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's a horror, but on set, it just felt like we were shooting a High School Musical or something. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just so jolly. It was so everybody was so loving. You know what I'm saying? So, I was happy. I was happy the whole time.
That's
Nice.
that's cool because you always
Yeah.
wonder what what it must be going through in a horror series. That's great though that it didn't seem any different, but you
Like, it was real light. Like it was a lot of fun vibes on set. We was playing music. We was just having fun. And how we were shooting something so dark. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna say that's like nice to hear because it's like this series is generally creepy for the we got to see the first 5 episodes and I'm like, wow, this is getting to some dark stuff and it's like that. It's fun to know that it was like actually really light and fun while filming it though.
yes, it was. Yes, it was, and that's hard to really come by. I think. You know what I'm saying? This is my first horror, but I don't think it's always like that. You know, so I was very grateful for that to be my first horror and it to feel like that with so many amazing people.
So
Nice,
Joshua, I
nice.
wanted to ask you about your character Kel because he starts off, he seems like just your average teenager, and then as the series progresses, you kind of learn maybe he has some other things going on. So what kind of inspiration did you use to kind of get into the mindset of his character?
Um, well, to give some inspiration, I watched this film called The People Under the Stairs.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, that's a great one. Yep.
yeah, and I really like I seen that and I was like they kind of living the same life. You know what I'm saying? Like they kind of going through the same sort of torture. You know what I'm saying? But like it just so happened in that movie, you know, he kind of led his way in there. But I just used that movie in general to really put me in that sort of atmosphere because that was based in the '90s and in LA. So it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So I used that. I watched a few documentaries. Um, one being LA '92 that was focusing on the riots that happened after the Rodney King incident, and yeah, I just did those types of things, just a lot of research to prepare me for the role.
Nice, nice. So what were some of your favorite moments about being able to be part of this particular series? Because I know you said you're a huge fan of the first one, so was like what were some of the best parts about actually being part of this now?
Man, just to be able to know that we a real family for real, like we a real family. Like me and Deborah, like we played mom and son, but we really like brother and sister. You know what I'm saying? And me and Luke, we like brothers. We from the same city. We had those talks about our careers together. Pam, she's such a good-hearted woman. Like she shares so many stories with me, and she just sees that she sees that I'm the future of this generation of actors or whatever like that. But everybody's just so sweet and loving, and I'm just grateful to be a part of a cast like that because it doesn't come around uh like that very like often. Like it's really rare to have people that you could call your family. And I can genuinely say that down to the cast, down to our creator, Lil Marvin, he's gonna always be with me. I really appreciate him for even believing in me that I could be able to do this character, Cal. So like that's really it. Just having a family like that is really
Yeah, I
cool.
was gonna say one of the things I think that was so strong about this series and your performance is it was the connection you had. You felt like a real family, even in the scenes with you and your dad in there, and with Deborah's character. And it was. I think that always helps just sell the believability of something like that. And I think you guys all just hit it so perfectly that point.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Oh, well, welcome. It's our pleasure getting to see it. Now, was there any difficulty when you like, because I know there's different directors for each thing, or did they all kind of share kind of the same vision when you went through it, right?
Difficulty as in like the portion of my character, or just like
Well, just, I know each director has their own kind of vision on it, but was there any differences or that you felt, or is it just pretty much straightforward?
I was really looking at it from the story aspect, not necessarily the directing aspect, because I'm a director as well. So like if a director give me notes, I understand it pretty
Oh,
good.
well, okay.
And one thing is, Little Marvin, he's actually a director for the 7th episode, and
Oh,
with him
okay.
being a creator and knowing the story for real, he just brought a whole extra flavor towards, explaining to me this thing and that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like he added a whole different flavor. So I mean, like I didn't really look at it from a director standpoint like that, but as far as the story aspect, it was smooth like butter.
Nice. That's
Very
awesome.
nice. So Joshua, I mean, I know I got a lot out of just the 5 episodes that I watched, but what do you hope viewers come away with after they watch this series?
To watch out for the kids. Watch out for, like, if you're a guardian, watch out for whoever you're taking care of. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know who could be going through what. You never know if your kid could be going through a certain part of depression, anxiety, even suffering from a disorder like Kel. He's suffering from OCD without even knowing it. It's just really watching out and just being there in a loving environment at the same time.
Nice. Awesome.
Man, thank you so much, Joshua. I really appreciate this opportunity. And like we said, we were just huge fans of the first season, and season 2 to me is almost even better. I'm just looking forward to seeing the rest of it, and
Yeah,
also looking forward to where your career takes you, man. I wish you all the best.
Yeah,
Best of
I
luck.
like that Pam said that you're like the future, because I want to see more of what you can do, because you were so good in this.
thank you so much. I really appreciate that. But hopefully I'm back on y'all screens again after this is done and over with. And
I hope
hopefully.
so.
Yeah, so, and you can do some more horror stuff. We'll have you on all the time.
Yes, that's really on my bucket list for real. Like I really want to do more. Like it's just like maybe that's my genre. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's my genre I'm gonna stick with. What's that girl name? Mia Goth.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
X
Yeah.
franchise. And speaking of Mia Goth, I'm sorry to cut y'all off, but
No.
um our series finale director is Ty West, and
Oh
he
right,
actually
yeah.
did it. So I got to be able to be with him, and he shared some notes with me, and yeah, I'm really excited. I hope to do more horror things. But I really appreciate those kind words, y'all. Thank you for real.
Oh, our
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Our pleasure.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, guys, we recently checked out the amazing new short Pit Stop, written and directed by David Flores and starring Mary Rose Brannick and Emily Sweet. And we are so happy to have them all here to chat about it. So welcome to the show, everyone.
I think we lost Emily. Right as you said that.
Oh, I scared Emily off.
Yeah. Well, I guess. Well, since she's probably been on the most out of everybody, it'll be good. She'll pop back on, and then
Pop back on, yeah.
yeah. So she'll be there. So I guess we could Tim continue, I guess, and then we'll
All right,
figure it
continuing
out.
on.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on. Before we talk about the movie, can you give us just a quick intro, a little bit about yourself for our viewers, our listeners? Actually, they don't view us yet, although we're starting to get into video. We're threatening to get into video.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I'm David Flores. I'm the writer director of Pit Stop. So thank you guys for having us on, and thank you listeners for giving us a listen. That's my intro. So I'll pass it on to Mary Rose.
I'm Mary Rose Brannick. I am an actor and director, and I am just grateful to have been on David's team a couple times. So, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
You're also a musician. Don't be shy. I saw the Instagram. You were doing those songs. They're really
well,
good. Musician.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So yeah, we'll add that.
We'll go there.
Try to add that.
I'm sorry. I hope I didn't embarrass you. I do
Oh,
research
no.
before we have guests on, so I'm
Oh
like...
my gosh. Well, thank you. That's very kind.
Now we have 2 Emilys, by the way. I don't know. we went from one Emily, we have 2. One may be like a fake Emily, an AI Emily. Maybe I hit that AI button. I don't know what happened.
My laptop is on its last leg and it's plugged in and it just randomly dies. I'm so sorry.
Okay. I'm going to try and remove the other Emily on here, and Tim will probably edit all this this
Okay.
shenanigans out that I'm causing here, but let me see if I can remove the other Emily out. Let's see. Oh, I did it. Wow.
There we go.
Okay.
Good job.
All right.
Thank you.
I have skills. Okay.
Well,
So
everyone who's listened to our podcast probably
Yes.
knows Emily already. But Emily, if you want to give us a quick intro
Hi,
about
yes,
yourself.
Sure, Emily. I act, I do a lot of horror, and yeah, I've been on Civil Gore podcast a lot, and I love them very much.
Aw. And we also have a little hidden guest too. She may not speak a lot today, but little Bandito is here. So
My dog.
so okay, we'll get right into Pit Stop here. So as that is the movie of the night, so to speak. So David, this one for you. Where did the idea come from, and what was the inspiration to write this? Because it really was a fantastic story. So
Thank you again. Yeah, and I realized I didn't, do my elevator pitch for Pit Stop. So listeners are like, what is Pit Stop? Why should I care? So, hand slap on me. But yeah, so Pit Stop is about a prisoner and a guard who are stranded, out of gas, waiting for backup. But it turns out they are not quite alone. So that's all I'll say. But it is a prisoner and a guard, so naturally they're not very friendly to one another. But whatever potential other person or thing that is out there really sort of escalates both their tension and also their you know ability to rely on each other to survive. So
yeah, that's good. And it's funny too, is because it's played by like they have this animosity, but it's played by two extremely nice people. So it shows how good their acting skills are because
Yes.
you would never like if
Um,
you get to know them, you would never think they could get so so angsty to
yeah,
each other
no,
there.
that's the beauty of acting for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, the sort of nucleus of it all. I had done a film last year called Likeness that was in the 2023 film festival circuit. It also starred Mary Rose Brannick. She was one of our leads in that. And Likeness is actually now on YouTube. So if you want to check it out, just literally type Likeness on YouTube. It should be the first thing that pops up. Give it a watch. But yeah, so coming out of that, I mean, not to put Mary Rose on the spot, but honestly, it was one of those things of holy crap, I need to make another thing with this person before she gets too big and stops answering my text messages. So that was kind of it. And I had worked with Emily in 2022 on an audio drama called Shell. Also check that out. Just look up Shell on any podcasting platform, and felt similarly about Emily. Coming out of that, I was like, that was amazing, but it was an audio only thing, and so I was really hoping for an opportunity to not only work with Emily again, but do a film with Emily, because it's like if you know Emily Sweet, she's definitely in the horror realm. So yeah, I definitely feel like that was kind of it. Is I was going through, okay, who have I worked with, and Mary Rose and Emily were sort of the top, and never quite knowing if they're going to accept the role. But I was like, I want to write something for them, and had an idea already. Always have ideas, but I had an idea that had been itching at me for a while, and once mentally it was like, okay, I'm going to write this for Mary Rose and Emily, and hopefully they accept the offer and be in the film. It was kind of off to the races from there. So
Nice, that's good. Well, they were both perfect for their roles in that, so they did an amazing job. And I apologize. I know that I don't know if it picked up, but we have like a kennel literally at the house here. So my dog was barking, and I'm just like shaking my head. So if you saw my weird face over towards the door, I was trying to get them to be quiet.
all good,
But I
all
apologize.
good.
But yeah, no, that's great because yeah, they both are incredible in this short, and so I'm happy for you that you were able to get them.
Me too. Yeah, I mean, I was definitely leaning on that they would say yes, just because I'd worked with them before. So I was like, well, we'll put it to the test. We'll see if it actually goes through. So yeah, obviously happy that they said yes, and that we got to make another film at the end of the day, because coming out of likeness, it was very much like, cool. That was really hard. I don't think I'll ever do that again. And then I think that lasted maybe 3 months before I was thinking of the next thing. And I talked to my wife and I was like, I think I want to make another movie. And I sort of saw her eyes like get big because we had just, pretty much we did a big self-funding component for likeness. I was like, okay, I can't self-fund another film because she'll throw me to the curb. So, we did a crowdfunding campaign for Pit Stop, and I was like, let's roll the dice. And if we make it, if we get a successful crowdfunding campaign, we'll make it. And thankfully we did. And here we are. So,
well, you can always count on us for jumping in on the crowdfunding for you, because I've seen all the stuff that I could able to see of your work, and it's all fantastic. So I will definitely, Tim and I will definitely be joining in on those any future crowdfundings you have there.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I guess I should clarify for any listeners that are like just joining in or like, who the hell is David Flores? It's just me. Like, it's not a studio backed anything. Like, this is pure indie passion project, guerrilla stuff, crowdfunding and or self-funding. Like, I work a day job. Like, none of this is being made in the Hollywood machine. So it really is making films with friends at the end of the day, which is cool. And thankfully we've been able to make 2 films that are pretty damn good at the end of the day. I mean, I'm biased, but I think we've made pretty great films. So,
well, I agree. So
thank you.
I'm not biased. I'm telling you the truth.
So, Mary Rose and Emily, I'm going to flip the question around a little bit. What attracted you guys to the project?
I think I got, whenever I get an email from David, I'm excited. I loved working with him on likeness. It was just I know that for you it was so hard. For me it was just so fun,
That's what we want at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's sort of music to my ears, right? We want it to be a pleasant experience for everyone else except me, type of thing.
Course. Exactly. It was like 2 days of bliss for me. I mean, it was hard work, and I wanted to do a really good job, and so I but at the end of the day, I was just like, oh my God, this was so great. And I think I really like his aesthetic. I like the way he thinks about things. And at the end of the day, it's just like, you want to work with people that you like working with. So, who are like kind and talented. It's like a dream. So, and then I read the script. I liked it a lot. And then I think I knew pretty much right off the bat that Emily was involved, and Emily is the horror queen. And I was like, what would I not, yes to it all. So I was on board right away.
That's nice, Mary Rose. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm going to toot David's horn even more. We didn't work on, like you said, on an actual film. It was an audio thing, which also was such a great experience, that when he reached out again, I mean, yeah, there was no question in my mind. But then to add on like the horror sci-fi element of everything, my friend Derek did some of not some of, I didn't want to give away what it was, did the effects, and I just loved working with him as well. And I mean, I had seen Likeness, and Mary Rose, I mean, fantastic. How many awards have you won? So great. And so I was just like thrilled to do something spooky.
So this one's back to David. So, in short films, you usually have little time to get everything in so that the audience can understand what's happening. Now, in this film, there's obviously some intentional ambiguity, but which really works for its benefit, of course. But were there any challenges you faced in terms of fitting just enough in to tell a compelling story, though, without giving away any of the unknown factors of it?
Oh, yes. I mean, again, I think the fact that we have a film that is not dog shit at the end of the day is like a complete testament to what we were able to do, because we shot it all in one day. So it was, and ultimately the script that we were doing was about a 10-page script. So we saw 10 pages in a day, which is just a lot. And yeah, it was a very ambitious project just from start to finish. And even the writing it was like, okay, how big of a burger can I make this type of thing? You know what I mean? Like it's still going to be compact, but we want to try to fit as much in as we can. And the things that I do at the end of the day are character-based stories, with a genre twist. So it was just trying to fit all that in of like, yes, it's horror and there's, special effects and all these like spooky elements, but at the heart of it had to be character based. It had to be these two characters and like how much can we, get at and reveal and hint at in really under 6 minutes, because that's what the final runtime of the film is. So yeah, again, just the fact that we have about a 6-minute film that I think hits all of those points is a true testament to the entire team and the entire process, because it was very difficult and we were very much behind the entire shoot. Like I think we were at least an hour and a half behind since 10 minutes into filming. So but we at the end of the day we still were able to get everything. Maybe the last 20 minutes of the shoot, everyone just sort of rallied and we were like on ultra light speed and just like getting a bunch of coverage shots, and we didn't have to sacrifice anything at the end of the day.
That's awesome. I love hearing stories of that about filmmakers that basically have small teams and have to really like they don't have the luxury of some big Hollywood budget being thrown behind it and we'll lose a day, don't worry, we got plenty in the bank. But it always impresses me when I hear stuff like that. So that's awesome to hear.
Yeah,
Just
no, I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead. No,
Oh, I was
absolutely.
just going to say, David is so good also, at least. I mean, I know there was only two actors in it, myself and Mario's, obviously, but like for a month ahead of time, he was like, any questions? Want to talk about anything? Want to run anything? Have anything you want to do? Like all the way, and then like leading up to it. And then the day before, Mary Rose and I and David, rehearsed. And it's nice that Mary Rose is a professional and comes prepared. And so, I mean, he has a really good team around him. Everyone just knows what they're doing, which I think really helps when you are in a time constraint.
Yes, 100%. That just piggybacking off what you were saying, Emily. Like, I think at the end of the day, we have the film because of the crew, and really just want to give all props. And Mary Rose and Emily, you guys are part of that. Like everyone coming in, just knowing what they're going to do, being super professional, and just kicking ass from start to finish. So it made my job easy because there wasn't any one element that it was like, okay, we got to kind of put more efforts on that because they're kind of dragging. It was just like all cylinders were firing type of thing.
So,
Awesome.
David, you talking about this being character driven leads to my question with Mary Rose and Emily, which is how did you guys prepare and get ready for these characters, considering it's a very short film. It's not like a movie where you have all this background. So how did you kind of get in the mindset of these characters? Because they're very well established in a very short amount of time.
Mary Rose, Emily, take it away. I'll jump in if you need me to.
Yeah, no, it's really funny. First of all, what like that prep work with David does, just asking any questions is really helpful to kind of get a sense of where they've been before or where they were headed to, or any of that. But it's so funny to me what wardrobe and makeup. I have absolutely not a stitch of makeup on except for tons of bruising around my face. My hair is nasty and I'm in sweatpants and my hands and ankles were really cuffed the entire time. And like, that's just definitely, you can do whatever you want. You can, for me anyway, you can prepare however you want, but it all comes together once David says action. Like, you know what I mean? Because even when you're rehearsing, Mary Rose and I aren't going 100%. We're like kind of, oh, is this okay? And are you comfortable with this? And blah, blah, blah. And so really like a lot of preparation sometimes just goes out the window because it's in the moment, what you guys are doing. So which I think hair, makeup, and wardrobe is extremely helpful in situations like this because it really helps determine your character.
Yeah, I agree. I agree about that. Shout out Marissa. Shout out all the people that worked on that. So good.
Totally.
Uh yeah, I actually feel like it's funny. It's sometimes counterintuitive, I feel. The shorter the thing, the more of the world of like before and of the actor and of the in between you have I feel like you have to fill in the details in your own mind to be like when you're inside of it and when we were in the car to be like this is happening. I feel like the world building beforehand was so important, so that there's no part of this day where you're going, this isn't the reality. This isn't my reality, you know? And that was that's it's always so helpful to talk to David. I mean, I feel like David, you might remember this better than I do, but I feel like we talked about it was so helpful to be like, if this was a song, if this short film was a song, what would it be? If it was an instrument, if it was a like aesthetically filling in some to give it some texture in my own mind, but so that this one day could be successful. Because it is like one day is it is kind of, at least it feels kind of like a high pressure situation to make it all happen and to get it right aesthetically quickly. And so and then yeah, that rehearsal with them was so fantastic and important, and I feel very free with these two people to kind of try things and make mistakes and adjust. So yeah, it was great. It was fun.
Very cool.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say something, David, so I wanted to pause a second because as Tim knows, he's like, oh, there goes Brian over talking everybody again.
No, yeah, it's obviously difficult with so many people, and you're on the Zoom. You're like,
Yeah.
do I go? Do I talk? Because I have a tendency to just go off too. So feel free. But
That's
no,
why we get along, see?
I was basically just gonna, emphasize everything that they said because, yeah, I think at the end of the day, Pit Stop very much is in like moment in time type of story where we are being dropped in media res or whatever, like we are being dropped in a single moment of these characters lives. There's a whole history that's happened beforehand, and there's a history that's hinted at the end. And our story, our little short film, is just this moment. So yeah, there's a lot of filling in the blanks, and I think Mary Rose and Emily were nothing but curious and professional, and like Mary Rose was saying, asking questions that maybe felt odd, where it's like, yeah, what is the music for this? Like, what is what what's the vibe or whatever, and I love questions like that, just because the more info I can give, especially to the performers, the better it's just going to be at the end of the day. And so once cameras were rolling, it was like we had done all the prep work we could, and you could really see the performances shine just from take one, which is great.
That's awesome. And you know, it's funny, you almost, I've never, that blended so perfectly into my next question because you actually, it was used the exact term too. I don't know if you saw me smile because that's why. So, like, basically, you used the term like a moment in time. I think I said snippet in time or something, but so it's obviously much a part of a much larger story, though. So, are there any plans to tell more of it, either in like some more short segments or possibly a feature down the road, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, that's always the tough part with short films is, and that's something that I try to really toe that line on of, and it was the same with likeness too, where at the end of the day, uh, the reality of making films is, if you're able to make something, anything, even if it's a short film, that might be it. So it's sort of like put everything, like make it as good as it can be, because that might be the only version of it that exists. So um, that's always like first and foremost for me. It's like, if we're gonna make a short film, let's try to make the best short film that we can, while still hinting at, like, yes, it would be great, give me money, like this is what we could do in one day with this amount of money, give us more money and we can expand this and turn it into a bigger thing. um so what you know so yeah, I think the hope is that it's not so much proof of concept where you're like, well, there's no story here. It's literally just a scene and there's no movie. The hope with any short film that I do is that there's enough of a beginning, middle, and an end where that story exists and it has a completion and you can feel satisfied with it, but also, there's enough meat to it where you could see it being expanded. So yeah, if you if anybody out there is rich and loves movies and wants to invest, hit us up because we would love to keep going.
Well, and the funny thing, I'll tell you, probably the biggest compliment I give the three of you is that I was like my mouth was open when it ended so suddenly. Like it went by. Like I know it was only, what was it, just under 6 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like 5:40 something.
Yeah, it felt like 2 because it was so good, and I'm like, I was so like, it left me wanting more even when I watched it repeatedly, and I knew it was going to come to an end. I was like, it's like that thing when you watch a movie over and over again, and there's a scene where you're like, oh, if only the outcome was different, but you'll still watch it because you love it anyway. It was like I was hoping that maybe like somehow there'd be magically another 5 minutes to it.
Yeah, that's like the opening 5 minutes to the now like 2-hour film or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I think I said that to you, Brian.
Yeah.
When I first watched it, I was like, "This has to be like a full feature. Like, I want to see what happens," kind of thing.
Yeah, we basically need the whole David Flores cinematic universe thing here. We need like more.
I mean, on my end, I haven't cracked the code on how to make movies without money, unfortunately.
Yeah,
so it's
Well, if it makes you feel better, we got doing a podcast for 6 years without any money. So
so that's why the Hollywood machine exists, is because it's like, oh, at the end of the day, they're the money people and they're the ones doling out the money. But would love to do a feature at the end of the day.
So Brian gave me this really tough question to ask.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. You got stuck with the tough one there, but
he has me dancing around spoilers like there's no tomorrow, and I can't dance very well. So, so without
I've seen
giving
him try,
away,
so I can vouch. He's not. Yeah.
Now, without giving away any spoilers, there's a reason we don't do a dance podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
So without giving away any spoilers, I'm not even going to say what Brian worded. There's something else in this film that you don't get to see. There's not a whole lot of information about.
Yeah.
Was it always the intention to keep that information hidden?
Well done, Tim. You danced well. You must take lessons.
That's good. That's pretty good, Tim. The answer is yes, and the reality of it is, it's cliche to say, but it's just budget. It's like, well, I'm pretty much self-funding this film, so we do not have the money to do X, Y, and Z, but we can do X, and so we put all of our eggs in X.
Very nice. That answers the question.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, the audience, the listeners are probably like,
trying to get it.
What are
like, what are
you
talking about? Yeah.
all I'm gonna say is just like shout out to Derek.
Shout out to Derek. Shout out to Derek Werley. He's awesome, and Emily again brought him on. She's worked with him on previous projects, and yeah, I mean, everything that X is because of Derek, and so that guy just like, the film would not be what it is without him and the work that he did. So.
Right. And the thing we're trying to keep quiet is about the little cup of peaches, right?
Exactly.
So I'm on the thing. Okay, good. I want to be able to make sure we're all on the same page. Yeah. No. When you watch that, you guys will see. Well, I know I'm kind of going on here, but so this movie really packs a punch, I think, in its short runtime though. But it's like full of tension, really tight set pieces, some incredible sound design, which you actually told us when you sent us the screener. You're like, crank it up, and I put headphones on, and I'm like, and it sounded incredible. So now that you've seen it all put together, and I know, David, you've probably seen it a million times in different forms. So, but like, especially for Mary Rose and Emily, like, how did you, once you saw it all put together, what were your thoughts on it when you saw how incredibly well this thing was put together?
I thought David is so good at what he does. I love when I can see like an aesthetic from one project into a next, even though they're entirely different projects. entirely different stories. Genre wise, they're different obviously, but I love, like, similarly to like watching Promising Young Woman and then Saltburn, being like, this is an Emerald Fennel. I mean, totally different stories, lots of different things, and going, okay, I now feel like I can be inside of this David Flores cinematic universe. I think that was the first thing that I felt so grateful for, is like someone with I feel like this signature like genre bending moments that happen. I that stood out to me so much. The sound design stood out to me so much. The lighting stood out to me so much. I think it's gorgeous. And then I think what's harder to put your finger on is just like energetically the way these moments are crafted in ways that like you can't quite define from beginning to end. I was just happy to have been a part of it.
I mean, I want to say, yeah, exactly what Mary Rose said. Like, I have nothing else to add. No, I mean, but yeah, I mean, literally what she said. Whenever you film something, you know, you always can't wait to see how it turns out. And sometimes you're like, ooh, and other times you're like, I love it. And so, you know, fortunately, this was like, I love it. But I like even reached out to get the score. I was like, can I have the score, please? That's incredible. It's so good. Like, I don't know. I thought it was just always fun to see something come together and to see. What I love about movies is like, yeah, like the DP. She was awesome. I love to see how she made everything. You know, the lighting, the this, the that. Like, everyone's just so good at their job that it's fun to see all of that come together.
So
yeah, I mean, that's a relief on my end, because you know what I mean? Especially, you know, really the first sort of check, or, you know, check of approval is always the actors, you know. So there's really means a lot that Mary Rose and Emily not only have seen the film, that they like the film, they're happy to talk about the film, they're not disowning the, you know what I mean, all of that, like that's huge, because at the end of the day, you know, everybody making the film are not on camera. Like Mary Rose and Emily, they're on camera, they're going to be projected on movie screens, everybody's like, they're the faces of the movie at the end of the day. So it's always a win when you when your performers, when your actors like the thing that they acted in. You know, and it's just sort of that contract of like that inherent trust. It's like they initially trusted me and the team to come onto the project and make a product, and so, you know, it's great when the final version can more or less, you know, match that trust. So thanks, guys.
So this question is for everybody. Now that, and we asked this question to a lot of filmmakers, and we get some varied answers, and sometimes it's not exactly what I expect, which is why I think it's an interesting question. But now that the film is finished, what are some of the takeaways you hope the audiences come away with after watching it? Besides the obvious, I hope it scares them. You know, is there any kind of that seems to be a given for most horror movies, but is there some kind of something that you're particularly proud of, or you particularly would love for audiences to take away from the movie?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hop in, but I
Perfect.
don't want to. No spoilers. I don't judge a book by its cover. People, you know, are going through shit, and you don't know what people are going through all the time. So don't judge by its cover. That's what I'll say.
Very well done.
Emily was taking dancing lessons too. She danced
Yes,
right
she
around
was.
those spoilers. Now.
She danced very well.
Mary Rose?
You reminded me of this, talking about the peaches. I actually think they were oranges, if I'm
Oh, were they? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I kept, nobody corrected me. I think I even said that to Emily, because
No,
we
I think
have a running joke about her when she eats stuff in films, and so it's a story for another time. But yeah, so I kept saying, I said, oh look, you got to eat. I just thought it was peaches, but you know, now that I think about it, it does look more like the little mandarin oranges.
They were like the little mandarin, yeah.
yeah, those packs that you can get of the tiny mandarin oranges. But Could have been Peaches. Really, it doesn't matter what it was, because it was what I'm saying is like I think actually that moment is sort of, for me, like so important. And like I actually feel like there's a lot of bedrock of this film inside of that tiny moment.
That, now that you said that, and I can't elaborate why, I do agree with that, because that is kind of goes along, if you think about what Emily said, then to that, and to like, so I think everyone just needs to watch that as fast as possible when they can, and we'll get to where you can do that in a second. But yeah, so I agree with that too. Yeah, it is. That is I mean, I was joking about the whole Peach thing, but it actually is a very pivotal moment, and does, yeah, you're right. It does sum up a big theme in the film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me, at the end of the day, what I hope that people can take away from it is the fact that, you know, just go along for the ride. I think, I do, non-spoiler, and I'll be the first to admit, like, I think the film zigs where you think it's going to zag. It's a bit of a twisty, bite-sized thing, so you might feel a little jostled by the whole experience when it's said and done, and that's intentional. Like, we want you to kind of feel like you've been on this roller coaster ride, and wait, what the fuck did I just watch?
Hmm.
How am I feeling about that? You know what I mean? Like, that's fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would prefer that you just go along for the ride and maybe let it sit with you and process, and whether it's your cup of tea or not, that's fine. But I think, we didn't try to make it universally liked. You know what I mean? Like, there are going to be people that come out of this and be like, I see what you were going for, not my thing. And it's like, that's cool, man. Thanks for watching, But
Hmm.
hopefully at the end of the day, it's less than 6 minutes. It's not going to kill you to watch it. And I think, it's, hopefully you can still have a good time with it and focus on the character-based performances at the end of the day, because I think, again, Mary Rose and Emily really are the glue that kind of hold it all together. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
hope that
that,
people have fun with it.
well, yeah, no, too, and I think, like, if they, it would, I mean, yes, I mean, it was a great story, it was amazingly done, but I don't think if you didn't get the performance that you did from Mary and Emily, you didn't get, sorry, Mary Rose and Emily, you didn't get that quite. I think it could be something that just doesn't hit the way it should, but that you
Absolutely.
ended up with like two people that just, I mean, killed it in their roles. That, yeah, that to me, that makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, to finish to want to let you guys go. I know we've been I promised everyone, I'm like, oh, can I keep it to a half an hour, and then I ramble on about fruit. But anyway, no, so but yeah, to finalize, sum it all up. So it's gonna be playing in some festivals. I know it's in one already. But where can our listeners, because now that we've intrigued them, hopefully, to see this, where can they follow it so they can follow along and make sure if it comes near them, they can go to the festival to see it?
Yeah, so just to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, yes, we have officially started the festival circuit. We're going to be having our world premiere at the Chattanooga Film Festival in late June, and it's actually going to be a hybrid screening. So which means there's going to be a virtual component, so you can watch it from the comfort of your own home. But we are also going to have an in-person screening at Chattanooga. So
Oh,
very
nice.
excited about that, because we were also at Chattanooga last year with Likeness, and it was a virtual only screening. So the fact that we're getting an in-person screening at Chattanooga this year, uh, me personally, I'm very excited about that. So if you're in and around Chattanooga, definitely hit up the Chattanooga Film Festival. And even if you're not, sign up for their virtual badge, because we will be playing there. But I promise you, their film selection is like off the chain every single year. So it's money well worth spent. You will not regret watching any of the films that they have in their programming. So yes, that's our world premiere. And after that, we're still waiting. Like, you know, Chattanooga is like hot off the presses, so we submitted to a number of festivals at this point, and we are waiting to hear back. So the best place you can follow to keep up, you know, updates would be probably my socials. On Instagram, I'm at David Flores Writes, like writer. So that's WRITES. Yeah, David Flores Writes. And then I'm also on Twitter or X or whatever the hell they're calling it these days.
I will never call it X. I'm always
Yeah,
calling it.
it's yeah. But I'm on that godforsaken platform as well, and that's D Flores Writes. So between Instagram and Twitter, that's probably the best avenue to keep up with me and Pit Stop and where we're going. But yes, unfortunately, I think the best way to watch Pit Stop would be to go to one of these festivals, or if they are having a virtual component, sign up to, you know, watch it virtually. Because the plan is to be in the festival circuit for at least the rest of 2024. So I don't think Pit Stop will be publicly available until sometime in 2025. So if you're waiting for that, it's going to be a bit of a wait. So I would hop on one of those festivals, because you can not only watch our film, but watch a bunch of awesome other films as well.
Well, we'll make sure too. Every time, because I, you know, of course, I follow you, and you know, we're staying in touch. So every time I see you announce something, I'll try and make sure we share that. So
Thank you.
because I know we have
Appreciate that.
listeners all over, and if you hit Croatia, you're going to be big, because we're 131st podcast apparently in Croatia. Emily's like,
well,
all right,
yeah,
stop saying that. You guys always say that. I'm tired of hearing it.
Well, if any of you
It's our
get
running joke.
I think it's awesome.
Yes. We actually wanted to make shirts up that literally said Civil War Podcast, 131st podcast in Croatia. But I don't know how we even got, we just got just to fill you guys in quickly, we got a random email saying that congratulations, you're and it was like a chart, and you're like, you're 131st podcast in
Love it.
Croatia. We're like,
Love it.
okay.
Well, any Croatian listeners, if you guys know of any Croatian film festivals, or if you're a film festival programmer, hit me up. Well, we'd love to submit. So
yeah, and also listeners, I know there's some film festivals that actually you can request films for it. You know, like to say, hey, could you do that? Remember the name Pit Stop.
Absolutely, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on. I know a little behind the scenes, we had some scheduling trying to get together, and we were back and forth a little bit, and I'm so happy we finally got together to do this little discussion, because you guys are great friends, and definitely want to help promote this in any way we can.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We know you know, Emily and David know the drill, but like Mary Rose, just to reiterate again, to any other, you know, any projects that you have also out of the David Flores cinematic universe, you know, that you want any kind of promotion, just reach out to us. I know we follow you on Instagram, so just follow, you know, reach out to us and say, hey, I got this coming on. And so we can, even if you can't make it on or something, we'll even mention it just to help spread the word for you.
Gosh, you all are the best. This is so lovely. Wow. I feel so grateful. This has been so much fun. I feel like I'm being welcomed into a big, happy family.
You're part of it now, yes.
That's what we like to think. And just now, you're going to be a household name in Croatia any minute. So.
Oh my God. And for that, I will be so grateful.